Okay, I hope this is going to work or not. I'm going to try and do a time-lapse video, but I'm not very good at this sort of thing. I start with an empty Dow Egg Bits coffee jar. These are the ones that come with these lovely tops, and they're too nice to throw away. I use acrylic paint, nothing else. Clean the jar thoroughly, inside and out. And I start with a fairly long-handled paintbrush. This one's only a small jar, but there are bigger ones as well, so I use a bigger brush, but one that's going to reach down inside easily. And then quite simply, I'm doing a snow scene for this one. All I do is just dab in loads and loads of white down the bottom, and in this case I've put a little bit of pale blue in as well, just to give it the more feeling and depth of snow. Now this will take at least a week to dry. It's a little thing I've learned, you know, when you finish painting, you can decorate, but you must leave the lid off the jar for over a week to let the paint, the moisture come right out of the jar, otherwise it gets condensation on it every day. And when you've done that, you then got to decide what scene you're going to do. In this case I'm doing some mountains with a tree either side. And what I do is I rough it out in white paint, so I know exactly where I'm going to be painting inside. Now I'm going to do the next bit and then come back to you, but what I'll do first, I'm going to do the sky. Got to do back to front in this, because otherwise you're going to end up with all sorts of mess otherwise. So we start with the furthest back first, which is in this case the sky, and then we layer it forward. I'll show you what it's like in a second. Okay, now what I've done is I've painted again on the inside. Everything's going to be done on the inside. By tipping the jar and using your long brush, it's quite simple to do. But you just go in there and you just paint the basic back colour first, which is in this case is a cobalt blue. Now I let that dry a little bit before I put any other colours on, because being glass with acrylic paint, it will take that colour off and make it very difficult to mix colours in. But I will be mixing a touch of blue, darker blue and white in with that sky in a minute to make it look more realistic. Just a little tip: never take it any further round. There's a seam in the glass. Always find the seam, and never take it more than half an inch either side of that seam to make sure that you've got a good viewing area at the front. Otherwise you'll obstruct your vision into the jar, and that's the whole point of this. So let it dry a bit, then mix some colours into the sky to get it finished. I'll show you some more in a minute. Well, as I say, it's difficult to show you. I've tried to rig the camera to do this, but basically this is how I paint on the inside of the jar. It's a bit more difficult because I'm trying to angle it for you to see. Normally it's up under my nose so that I can see it. You will get little gaps where the paint comes off the glass, but if you work at it and just let it dry a bit and go back and do a bit more, the acrylic will take a little bit of a gap there. I'm just using a slightly darker blue now, just to give the sky a little bit of texture. Don't worry about the streaks in the paint. You're not doing an oil painting. It's part of the charm of it, really, is it's a very naive painting. It's the effect you want more than anything. There you go. I'll do a bit of white in a minute, then I'm going to go on to doing the sky. What I meant to say was the mountains. Now the mountains, I'm going to do the bottoms first, and then we'll have snow cap on the top. So we've got, obviously the snow falls over the mountains, so we paint the bottom first and then we bring the white snow over the top. So in this case I'm going to use dark purple just to do the bottoms of the mountains, only from about there up. Carefully dab it in, rough round the edge of where the tree's going to go. Don't worry too much, but make sure you get the paint in the same direction. That's the most important thing, otherwise it looks really messy. That's one thing you've really got to do. Just leave it to about there, so you've got room for your snow to come down the mountainside. And then again, across to that one. Fill it in any way you can to start with, just so that you're basically giving the glass something to bind the paint to initially. And again, over there. You're not doing anything posh at the moment, just giving the glass a little bit of texture. Alright, then a couple of minutes to dry. Okay, so I hope you can see that, but there are the mountains. Basically exactly the same. Like I said, put the white on last, over the top of the purple, which gives you that effect. Now, what I'm going to do now is seal up around the bottom here with some white to make it look like the snow's going up to the mountains. And then we can put the foreground in, the trees. Okay, sealed the back, so if you see on the outside that's painted solid now. If you can see any gaps where you can see light, then you need to go back over it with your paintbrush, because when the light's inside it, it will shine through and it'll look messy. Now I've just put the little bit of snow at the bottom of the mountain, very nice painting, a little bit of blue in the middle to make it look like frozen ice. I'll show you why I'm doing that in a minute. Okay, so look, jam jar finished, painting on the inside done. It's Christmas trees either side, just a few dobs of red metallic paint. Scene is now set. So, jam jar done. These little guys, well, they are little. I made these a few days earlier out of Daz air dry clay. You can do what you like. I've done dragons and fairies and all sorts of things. When the jam jar has dried enough, all I'm going to do, with a pair of tweezers, you lower these into the jar. And all I use to stick them into situ is PVA glue. Because the two surfaces are fairly rough, it seems to hold them into place quite well. Let's move this around so you can see a bit better. So yeah, that would then go into there with a pair of tweezers and in. And they will, and then that will give you the 3D scene. Now, the most important thing to do with these is bling. I buy these. These are all the stick-on beads. You get all sorts that you can use on birthday cards. And I don't rely on the glue on them entirely. I use a bit of PVA glue on the back as well. And you basically, again, stick them inside. The way I do that is with a couple of very, very long paintbrushes. I use both ends. I use the paintbrush end with a bit of glue on, which picks them up. Then you take them in, put them down in there, and then you use the other one, so using two together in the pot to glue it down and in. Bling it as much as you want, because that's the most important thing. Now I'll show you what I'm doing with the solar lights very quickly. Right. Now I buy these are these small garden stake lights. They tend to fit nicely inside the big jars. I don't think it's going to fit into this small one, but I'm pretty 99% certain it won't. In which case, for this one, I buy those little tiny flicker candles that you can buy, which are really tiny. And the way you fit in either the solar lights or the flicker candles is this plastic bit just comes off, pops off with a knife. It's not easy. You just get your knife underneath the edge there without stabbing yourself and just lever it off. That nice clean cut top then. And as you can see, unless you can buy a smaller solar light than me, that is not going to fit in. But you buy one of those little flicker candle things that you can get, very, very simple. And what you do is you take the lid, you cut a hole in the centre of it there. The candle will then fit through the centre of it upside down. Then you can pop it back on to the lid with the candle in and pop it down. Now that only problem with the flicker candles is they've got an on-off switch, which you don't have with the solar lights. So what you have to do is cut a slit here with a pair of scissors, not all the way to the centrepiece where the hole is for the candle bulb to stick through. Cut a slit here so that when it's back on the coffee jar, you can just lift it up by the slit to get it on and off, to switch the thing on and off. But with the solar lights on the bigger jars, you don't have to worry, because they fit beautifully inside the plastic. They will fit beautifully, and then you just pop them through light bulb side through the hole in the middle. Then you put the coffee jar over the top and seal it. Bingo, you've got an instant light that comes on and off on its own. by far the best to get the bigger jars. I was given these small ones and they're lovely, but you need to get the bigger ones if you want to use solars, unless you can find a smaller one than this, and I've not been successful. Anyway, it's a very rough guide. I hope you enjoyed it and give you an idea what to do and how to do it. Thank you.